learn for all your life. UNA University, manifesting all your dreams. With Paradise, your land is home. Writing contracts on your own. Protect your loved ones every day. Knowledge goes a long, long way. UNA University for me. UNA University for me. UNA Paradise, all your life. University, all your dreams. Land is home on your own. Every day, long, long way. UNA University for me. All right. Yes. UNA. Yeah, welcome everybody. Welcome. All right, I'm yours truly, Diva Lyri, in the house representing for UNARepublic and UNA University. Welcome. We got a great session today. Yes. UNA. Yeah, all right, so let's get into this thing. Welcome. I'm yours truly, Diva Lyri. I'm representing for UNARepublic, where we help people to find their financial freedom, their social freedom, and most importantly, their spiritual freedom. Let's do it today. All right, now I got a session today where we're talking about Roland Martin lights up Patric Bet Davis. All right. And I want to go into this and just take a look at what happened in that episode. This is going to be one of my reaction videos. So I hope you find it well. Okay. Welcome everybody. TikTok. You can find us at UNARepublic. You can find us on YouTube at UNARepublic. Find us on Twitch at UNARepublic. Find us on X at UNARepublic. We are on all of the platforms. All right. We're streaming right now on all of those. So welcome everybody. All right. Let's get into this thing now. Let me make sure you all know what UNA is. For those of you all who are new, some of my people on Twitch are new. UNA stands for United Nations from America. And once again, we help people find their financial freedom, find your social freedom, and most importantly, your spiritual freedom. So what are we talking about when we say social freedom? I just want to get into that because some people might not understand or be aware. So we know that in this society, there are these laws, or what are presented as laws. And some of us have come aware of them, and we don't want to be under tyranny. All right. So UNA helps people to gain their social freedom by helping them with their trust. All right. That's what we talk about, the membership trust package, and what it comes with: all of your documents that you're needing to declare your sovereignty. Okay. These are your trust documents that are sealed. Okay, we put those on record for you. Also, you have your membership badge and your allodial ID. Okay, on the back of this, there is that QR code that helps you to quickly access all of your certified documents. Also, very importantly, we're giving you an education. You got to be educated on this because these are some very, very powerful tools. And if you don't know how to use them, then they cannot work for you. All right. So that's why we include the education so that we make sure it's an 8-week session. You do it at your own pace. All right. So you can get this. Find the link in the bio. All right. We have a link tree. You can also go to UNARepublic.com. You'll find the link there so that you can get this membership trust package. Okay. All right. So it's at a very discounted rate because listen, we really want you to gain your sovereignty. All right. And your freedom. That's your social freedom. Okay. We're talking about our spiritual freedom. Let's go into our memberships. Let's get on this. All right. So in our memberships, we have, this is our Awaken package. For those of y'all who are just finding out about the information, you want to gain a little bit more information, this is a great package. But also what's very important about this package is we have inspirational messages that we send out 2 days out of the week, twice per day. Okay, so on those 2 days, we're going to send out 2 messages, one in the morning and one in the evening. And this gets you into that program whereby we're sending you the inspirational messages to help you to really get on that spiritual journey. Okay, why, Diva? Why is it all about the spiritual? Well, listen, every issue that we have, whether it be financial, whether it be with these agents out here, whether it be any other kind of issues with your family, it's all spiritual. That's where everything starts. And once you come into alignment spiritually, you're going to gain access to the freedom, financial freedom that you're looking for. But it starts with the inner freedom. You got to free the spirit. Then you can get to the finances. As a matter of fact, the finances are going to find you. As a matter of fact, this session that we're doing tonight, we're going into that. So Awaken, this is a great package for you to get those inspirational messages. And also you get discounted consultations when you have this. This is only $10 a month. All right. We have also our second one, Transcendence. Okay. In this Transcendence package, this is $30 a month. You're going to get the consultations that are discounted, but you also get those inspirational messages, and we're going to modify it because Diva Lyri is going to say your name right here with this package. Okay, so this is called the Transcendence package. This is only $30 a month. Okay, and also this is going to get you the personalized audio. Is also give you the video. They're private videos that we do in our university. This is going to give you access to that. Okay. So this is going to be a great package. And also, as we mentioned, the discounted consultations. We also have Luminosity. All right. This is our Luminosity package. This is only $100 a month. Now, this is going to get you, once again, everything in the Transcendence package, but it's going to get you access to the UNA University on our 1 day a week program. All right. So what happens is you get to come in and be a part of our Monday classes where we really go deep into that spiritual side. It also gets you access again to one of our private video sessions from our university. Going to give you access to communicate with our staff, and also the discounted consultations. And there are certain other legal assistance that we could provide for you too under that program. So the Awaken, the Transcendence, or the Luminosity. Okay, let's get to it. Those are our memberships. Now we're talking about the spiritual side. Now let's talk about, when we talk about the financial side, financial freedom. This is when you join the UNA University. You can find us at UNARepublic.com if you're looking to enroll, and there's more information there. For my people on TikTok, if you want to leave an inbox, people on X, if you want to leave an inbox, All right. Name, number, email. Name, number, email. Those are the things that we need. And we're going to send you an invite so you can join our workshop. Okay. And then understand more about the products and services that we offer with UNA. What is it when you get into the university? Now you can start learning about finances. That's why it's important to be a part of the university, because it is only after you gain knowledge on certain things that you can really understand how to wield your power in this game, because you all have been banking. Y'all are bankers. You've been banking. You didn't know it, but you got to understand the game. All right. And we also, most importantly, got to come out of certain mindsets that we have, that we've been taught, that we see in this society, the things that we think we see that we don't know. We got to come out of thinking that we have knowledge about certain things. These people have told you are laws and they're not. Okay. So this is why you got to join the university, so that you understand the whole game and what's really going on, so that you can start banking. Okay. So let's get into this. Let me make sure I see my people on YouTube and TikTok. Hey, TikTok. I don't know why I can't get into it. 1 second. So it says I have 40 viewers. I cannot get into it. Okay. So I'm not sure what that is. Let me send a message so that I can make sure. Okay, let's go on. Now, for my Twitch, I hope we're running on Twitch. For my TikTok, for my YouTube, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're in the house, say something so I know you're there. All right. So today, let me, first of all, scissors. Today, we're talking about all right. I'm trying to just get set up. Y'all know how we are with these. Hold on. I want to make sure. I'm going to say something. It's unfortunate what has happened with TikTok. It really is. As far as it's been taken over, it really has been. And the reason why is because TikTok, I get a lot of my viewers from there, and so I don't like to go on if I'm not running on TikTok. All right. So I have a great deal of respect for let's see, we're up. Okay. So I got a great deal of respect for all of our viewers, but I definitely want to make sure TikTok is up, because that's where we started. That's where those are the people who really support what we've been doing here with UNA. And so I got to show love to TikTok, even though we've had to branch out to other platforms, but TikTok, thank you so much. And my people on TikTok, thank you so much for being here. All right. So I think we are up. I think so. All right. I think. Okay. But I'm going to move on. All right. So let me go. All right. So we're going to move, but hopefully we'll put up some, we'll replay it. All right. So let's get on this now. Roland Martin, Lights Up, David, Patric Bet Davis. And let me make sure, I want to make sure I'm pronouncing Patric's name properly, but it's Patric Bet Davis. They call him PBD. Let me make sure. Yeah, Patric Bet Davis. Okay, so now What happened on this session? I saw clips of Roland Martin really lighting Patric Bet Davis up. All right. In these clips, he went on, it showed, and we're going to show them here today. But I just want to speak on this because in this clip, Patric goes on and asks Roland, well, if you care so much about the Black community, well, why did you leave the Black community? And then, of course, Roland Martin, he's like, wait, what? I need to get you tested for drugs. So they had a debate. Now, when you see that clip, it looks like Roland Martin dragged Patric Bet Davis across the sand, across some coals. That's what it looked like. But for me, whenever I see a clip, it is always my policy. And it's a stern policy. I need to see the video in its entirety, because when you see only part of it, then that means that somebody can spin it whatever way they want. And so then if I come on and speak about it, I'm like, yeah, but I'm speaking on something and I'm really have no knowledge. And this is what I mean when I say we don't want to speak out of ignorance. All right. So that's why for me, I had to make sure that I took the time, and that was a 2 hour and some odd video, but I need to watch the whole thing in its entirety and take notes, by the way. So I want to go through the video, and then I'm going to give you my take, because the particular person who posted the video, they're saying, Roland Martin won that video or won that debate. And from the looks of that video, it looks like Roland Martin really dragged Patric across the coals. However, when I went back and looked at it, I saw something a little bit different. And then I'm going to speak on it after we take a look at some of these segments. So let me pull up this first one. And by the way, this was a heated debate, but Patric he did a very good job of keeping it light, or as light as he could, or bringing it back around to not being so angry. So he did a good job at doing that, but it was a heated debate. So what I want to do is play let me play this segment where it looked like where the person who showed it on his show. Let me start here, and then we can, because this is where it looked like Roland Martin was rolling over him. All right. So let me start here. This is where Patric says, he asked Roland Martin, "Are you rich?" All right. Patric asked Roland Martin, "Are you rich?" And so I'm going to go ahead and play this right now. All right. So we're going to show.
I understand you grew up rich. Who did you grow up rich? No. Oh, my parents didn't go to college. How are you rich then? What do you mean how? How are you rich? Here's how. How'd you because how no, here's how. Yeah. Because first and foremost, the neighborhood that I grew up in it was one of the first master plan communities by a hood. What you had in my neighborhood was you had folks, first of all, I had mom and dad, one, who also married, who also, hell yeah, they're still married for 6 years, who absolutely believe in education. Now, what I recognize is.
All right. So now he just asked him, is he rich? I want to go to this before I get into the big clip that was played, that everybody's playing, and saying that Roland Martin rolled over Patric. Let me get into this as well. This is where Patric is talking about his background. All right. All right, so this part is where Patric is now going into his background. And let's take a look at this.
neighborhoods that simply can't be just, oh, we let the one person and then it's going to change.
Bro,
It doesn't work that way.
Bro, I'm Middle Eastern, okay? I was born in Iran, 10 years. My mother's a communist, my dad's an imperialist. I escaped to go to Germany. I lived at a refugee camp for 2 years, okay? With people who are Yugoslavian, Czech, Albanian at the time. And they're all leaving for a reason. I come to the States, okay? I'm a welfare baby. I'm a food stamp baby. Okay. Just letting you know, my parents are divorced twice in 20 years. I'm going to Glendale High School. I have a lunch ticket. I would sell because I don't have any money. I'm 6'1", 130 pounds. That should tell you the fact that we don't come from a lot of money. One day, I'm in the school, and my teacher starts talking about politics. Up until that point, when I think about politics, all I think about is divorce. Because I think about my mom and dad arguing all the time. I have a lot of pain linked to politics at the time. And the teacher's, obviously the teacher's going to be a Democrat because she's presenting how rich people are this rich. Okay, great, rich people are bad. So I obviously 13-1. That's the number. That's I had a whole lot of damn Republican teachers in my life. Well, I like stats, and the stats are 13-1. It's Democrats to Republican. You know the stats. So I come home and I say, Mom, are we Republicans or Democrats? And she said, we're Democrats. I said, tell me why. She says, because the Democrats are for the poor, Republicans are for the rich. So my mom says. You know what I told her? I said, when I grow up, I want to be a Republican. Not because I want to be a Republican. I don't know what the policies are.
So first of all, who's actually for the rich and the poor?
Who? Who is for the rich and the poor?
Okay. So we see both of their backgrounds. Both of them claim that they come from poverty or neither of them were rich. All right, now I want to get into this clip where everybody's playing it and they're saying that, you know, Roland rolled over PBD. All right.
After Jim Crow integration, what then happened? Those African Americans who were middle class, upper middle class, began to move away. What then began to happen was you had areas where poverty increased even more so.
Why move away? Because if you care about the community, why not stay there and change it?
Well, first of all, does anybody else move?
What do you mean?
Who the hell else don't move? Well, how do you think suburbs were created?
Wait a minute.
What do you mean? How do you think white flight was created? So everybody else get moved, but we can't move.
But if you act like you care about the community,
no, guess what? I'll answer your question. Do you know why? Because when African Americans were living in black neighborhoods, they also had economically depressed housing values, and the reality is they were not able to change it.
Help change it.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I am. I am.
You should be drug tested. Seriously.
Yeah.
Do you even know today, we've done stories in Florida, when somebody's black selling their house, the appraisers will come in and literally give them a value of $100,000 to $300,000 less because they're black. You know that's actually happened, right?
You'll take one story and say that.
Oh my God!
On how many occasions has that happened?
Are you serious?
Do you think a message like
okay? Why don't you go ahead and Google?
How many times?
The New York Times literally just did a story talking about the systemic racism that exists within housing appraisals. This is a fundamental problem. I'm trying to see. You're living in a different reality.
What progress are you making by saying that?
What progress?
So what you?
I'm trying to end that. Do you know how inherent? Okay, hold on. You said you're Middle Eastern, right?
You're trying to.
Hold on. You said you're Middle Eastern, right?
Yes.
How would you feel? How would you feel?
Yes.
If you're selling your home, you've got a home that you know,
right?
You put upgrades in it. You know your home is worth $500,000.
Yes.
And somebody comes into your home, and they see your photos,
right?
And they see your family, and then they go back and they go $350,000. You go, what the hell?
Should you wait,
1 second.
Get people
no.
Happening.
It's
out of 1,000 appraisals. Out of 1,000 appraisals, how many times does that happen? Out of 1,000 appraisals, does that happen?
You want to pull that up? Tell me to pull that up.
That's your world, dude. Out of 1,000 appraisals, how many times does that happen? Let's just say it happens.
It is a significant issue in America.
Oh my God.
And wait 1 second. And then when the woman, a black person should not have to remove their photos from the wall and remove black art and remove black books to have a white appraiser then come in and go, oh, it's actually 550. So one second. I'm trying to show you how it impacts generation. So when you follow me here, because this is how this is American. When you then get that lower appraisal, you then cannot sell your house for the higher value, which then means you are not then taking those proceeds and being able to invest, being able to send your kids to school. And what I'm trying to explain to you is there is a world out here that for some reason you're like living in unity world that ain't the real America. And I'm trying to get rid of that stuff.
You have the wrong guy here. I'm
trying to get rid of it.
Okay, good for you. I am as well. We have the wrong guy here. And here's what I mean by that. So when you ask the question, what do you do if they praise your house $350,000 less, right? That's your question. Okay. I don't see myself as a victim. I stopped looking at myself as a victim a long time ago. And by the way, being Armenian and Assyrian, you know what a lot of people in the Armenian community do? You know what a lot of people in the Armenian community do? They self-victim with mentality. I'm raised with that, which is the statement of mechka. I know you don't know what the word mechka means. Mechka means, oh, poor Roland, oh, poor PBD. I don't see myself as a victim. And the other part is when you use one story as an example to divide and get people even angrier, because out of 1,000 appraisals, this happened one time, I don't think you're unifying when you say a statement like that, to say, hey, this is what's taking place all the time. But go back to it. So you left because you wanted better economic situation for yourself.
All right. So hold on for a second.
So listen to what you just said. Again,
I'm having a hard time listening.
All right. So this is what I want to say on this. So let's go into. I want to break this down. This whole conversation now. As it goes on, Roland Martin is going to actually pull up information on what he's saying and his whole part. And we're going to go into that. But before we go, I want to make this clear. Roland Martin is making a point about there is this racism, or what he calls systematic racism or systemic racism, whereby so-called black people, y'all know how I feel about the word black. Y'all know what it means. If you know what it means, put it in the comment section. But it doesn't mean what people think it means. So, but that being said, Roland Martin is constantly speaking about this systematic racism that's going on, and in particular, he brought up the housing community. Now, the problem with this conversation and how just this clip makes Patric Bet Davis look, it makes him look like this rich guy who doesn't care about the poor, and he, as though he doesn't want to acknowledge that there's an issue going on with respect to melanated people. That's why I call my people melanated, with respect to melanated people being preyed on and targeted. Okay, so that's what it looks like on Pat. From those of us who don't know what the laws are, standing back, it looks like Patric Bet Davis doesn't care or doesn't feel like it's real, or oh, it's all in your mind. And now I know something different, because later on in this video, Patric Bet Davis, he pulls up one of the documents that we send you in our law book. Now his is a little bit different, but it's the same principles. The vibratory frequency chart, he pulled this up. All right. What he was trying to say to Roland was that there is something deeper, and it's a mental issue when we're talking about the victimhood situation. All right. So I'm going to go on, because I'm going to break this down even deeper, but we get what Roland Martin says. Roland Martin is presenting facts, and then Patric Bet Davis is speaking on facts as well that Roland Martin is not going to be able to see, because there is a victimhood mentality. I'm going to continue. because we're going to play. Yeah, we're going to play from here, and you'll see how Roland Martin does a very good job of bringing in his facts.
It's so fundamentally flawed because when you say, "Oh my God," you see yourself as a victim.
You do.
No.
You're selling it as a victim.
No, I'm not. What I'm selling is a reality. What I'm selling is when this is again. Since I guess you couldn't pull it up. Okay.
Oh, he did.
Okay. The Biden administration, the Federal Housing and Finance Agency, released 47 million appraisal reports to the public for the first time. The appraisals, which were compiled between 2013 and 2021, present evidence of a persistent, widespread practice in the home appraisal industry to give higher values to homes when the occupants are white and devalue them if the owners are people of color.
That's such bullshit. That's such bullshit. You know why?
Hold up.
Let me tell you why that's such bullshit.
They actually took the reports and showed the data, and now you call it bullshit. Of course, so you ask for the data and the facts, and now you give your opinion
first of all,
because you don't like that, bro.
Come on, man. You run a company?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so when you run a company, how much shit can I find in the OpEx? How much what? With OpEx. But when I go into my balance sheet and I look at my expenses, my monthly expenses, what I'm paying for, rent, employees, benefits, workers' comp, I can give a number and say, we lost $280,000 this year. And it's like, oh my God, we lost $280,000. And then I open up the balance sheet and then boom, I'll see you're moving your face like, you know what I'm talking about.
First of all,
when I see a data like this, tell me the whole story. To jump to conclusion with something like this without seeing the entire story is ludicrous to make a comment like that. But
analyzing the millions of appraisals by using census tracts and the proxy for neighborhoods and comparing communities with nearly identical housing stock. Two researchers found that the results showed a clear correlation. The higher the proportion of white residents in each community, the higher the appraised value of individual homes. They compare similar data. See, again, you want to reject the facts. And what I'm trying to explain to you is
I am refusing to.
Wow.
Constantly have people give data without me having access to the entire thing, just for their own benefit to divide.
All right, so right there, where he says, I am refusing to believe, basically what he's saying, and what it sounds like to those of us listening is, I'm refusing to believe that Black people, that's what most people would hear, are really experiencing this. I think the information is fake. That's how he came across. All right. And that's the problem. So when you show just these two little clips that I've shown, which are kind of long, but when you show these two little clips, then it comes across as though Patric Bet Davis said, I'm not believing that. I don't believe Black people going through that. And that's the problem. Now, with that being said, now we've seen both of those videos. Let me give my full take on this. All right. In this room, you had two very big egos, two very huge egos. And not only was Patric Bet Davis not respecting facts that are being shown, Roland Martin did it too. They both did it. What's so funny is, I'm gonna pull up another chart. Universal laws. I go through these regularly. They're accusing each other of things, and they doing the same thing. Roland Martin accused them, you don't respect the fact and the facts, and I'm showing the facts, and then Patrick would show facts, and Roland Martin wouldn't respect the facts. Then Patrick showed some facts, and he said, Roland, can you agree to this? And Roland would flip-flop and change the subject, and two big old egos. And that's the problem with this whole issue. Why melanated people are still crying about how the Democrats and the Republicans not helping us, because you got all these big old egos and they're not really dealing with the true issue. So when I looked at that one clip, it's going to look like Roland Martin rolled all over him. But then you need to go watch the whole video, because they both flip-flop. Both of them would not respect what facts are. But one of the things with respect to David and Roland, I'm going to tell you like this. They both are right. Both of them are right. Both of them are correct. Because Roland Martin feels like, oh, the black people, we get stepped on, and but he's not saying we. He's talking about those of y'all who still stuck in the Democratic and Republican. What he stated, those were facts. As a matter of fact, where's that article? We're going to put a link to this article as well in the description. And this is the article, or one of them, that Roland talked about. I was trying to find the couple, but this is I was trying to find an image of the couple. But this is talking about the devaluation of Black homes, as you can see. And this article goes on to speak about how this couple, they actually got an appraisal, and somebody came in and appraised the house, and it was lower than what they expected. I'm just trying to make sure we're on the right screen. Provide. Thank you. So again, I was trying to find it. The one that I saw, it had an image of the actual couple that had the appraisal, but basically it was very low. So what they did is this couple decided to take the pictures off of the walls and because they had a friend, and the friend said, yeah, sure, I'll stand in for you. Let me do it. I'll make them feel like this house is mine. So she comes in, puts her photos up of her family or what have you. And then somebody comes back in and they appraise the house at, I think it was 2.5 million, which is 500,000 more than what the previous appraisal was. So, and then this article goes on to talk about how there's research going on that's showing how melanated people, their houses are being devalued or what have you. And Roland Martin is just showing facts, saying that this thing is systemic. Okay. And then Patric Bet Davis goes on to say, what you're selling, he says, you're selling victimhood. He says, that is your world, is what he says to him. He says, you're trying to convince the people that this is what's going on. And so here's the issue with what Patric Bet Davis is saying. He's trying, and then he goes into talking about how the people where he comes from, his community, they delve in victimhood mentality. And so let me say this again. Roland Martin is correct when he's presenting the facts on that. And then Patric Bet Davis is correct when he's saying it is about what you're putting in your mind. If you believe you're a victim, you're going to stay a victim. So when somebody like Roland Martin comes along and says, y'all all victims, all of y'all are victims, well, then the people who are following him are going to say, jail, we's victims. And then they're going to act like it. It's going to be in their mind that that's what they are. And as long as you act like it, that's what you're going to get treated like. Now, this couple, they weren't victims. Why do I say that? Because they recognized, they had knowledge. They had knowledge enough knowledge to say, wait a minute, that's not right. And they didn't sit down and allow that to happen to them. They stood up and they said, wait a minute, let's flip the script on them. Let's go ahead and get our Albion friend in here to pretend like this, and let's see what happens. So now they can sue. So I'm saying to you, because they have knowledge, you can't hold somebody down when they choose to educate themselves. They knew good and well their house was worth more And so because they were educated, they're not victims. So here's the deal. Now what we're coming back to, what's in your mind? Now it's like when you're feeding this to people and you're saying you a victim, then in their mind, well, that's what we are, and that's just how it's going to be, and that's what we're going to get victimized. But then you got this couple that said, no, not today. Not today. I'm too educated to allow you to run over me like this. I'm not going to be your victim. Education. That's the problem. See, okay, let me go on. Because the problem with the way that Patric Bet Davis presented his information, he just came off as someone who lacked compassion. I come off as somebody who lacks compassion because everybody, well, that's your world, Diva. That's how you do it. Listen, this is your world. And if you allow somebody to sell you victimhood, then that's what you're going to continue to live in. That's why I say Patric Davis was correct. He just didn't present it properly. Then he turned around and he put up what's similar to the vibratory frequency chart. Now, the deal is, if you're not spiritually intact, and this is why I talk about this, everybody wants to act like, oh, well, you know, things just happen and things are happenstance and they don't know what the laws are. You better know Patric Bet Davis knows them, or some of them. He knows some of them. And he also knows the vibratory frequency, and he implements this in his life. So he came from poverty, just like Roland Martin. The difference is he's saying you got to change your mindset. Okay, that's what he's saying. So I need to go into this because now I need to get into the universal laws. And I know I lost some people, but for those of you all who have eyes to hear, eyes to see, for those of you all who have eyes to see and ears to hear, pay attention. All right, because this is what Patrick was trying to get on, but you cannot present this kind of information when you're talking about politics. Politics is garbage. Okay, let me relax. All right, because the whole time they're only talking about politics. There is a spiritual issue going on in this whole land that we call North America. There's a spiritual issue. Not only that, there's an ignorance issue with a lack of knowledge about what truly happened in history. So I need to get back on what Roland Martin was saying. I'm going to play this part where Martin talks about slavery. All right. So let me go into this. I'm going to play this clip and then I'm going to tell you one of the big issues going on that has not been addressed. All right.
You talk about crime in this country, you're talking about economics, you're talking about education, you're talking about housing, you're talking about health. Show me areas where you do not have high crime. I'm going to show you areas that don't have the same, aren't as compacted. That's first. What you have is, when you talk about crime in places, you then look at what are the numbers of people there, what are the pockets there, what are those communities, and how did those communities, how were they created literally not over 20, 30 years, but literally over 50, 75, 100 years. Now, that was Jim Crow.
How many years does it take to change?
What are you talking about?
How many years does it take?
Okay, when you have,
how long does it take to change?
When you, first of all, you talk about a black in America.
How long?
When you have had,
yeah,
okay, walk through 243 years of slavery, 92 years of Jim Crow, and then you get to 1970 when you are technically fully free. You can't act like all of that before did not impact. The issue that you're having now have to do with not Democratic or Republican policy. It has to do with literally white supremacy and Jim Crow in America. We are still, to act as if we are still not dealing with that. How did housing discrimination take place in this country.
All right. So he talks about 270 years of slavery and 90 years of Jim Crow and all these other things. But what he failed to recognize is the true history before that. Why is it important for us to hold on? Why is it important for us to recognize? Why is it important for us to recognize the fact that there's a history before what we call slavery of melanated people? All right. Why is it important? Hold on for a second. Okay. So one of the reasons why it's important to recognize the history before that is because then we get back to universal laws. Now we can start to recognize and understand why melanated people are going through what they're going through. This is the disconnect right here. What I'm going to speak on right here, this is the disconnect. So pay attention. Okay. We got this issue where there was a history and who created or who actually started the United States of America. All right. That was in 1777. We keep thinking when people say our founding fathers and all that, they thinking Albions, but those people were melanated. And I go back and show you proof of that. I'm not doing it here today, but we show proof of that in several of our videos. The fact that the original people, first of all, the original people of the land were melanated. Then when you're talking about the so-called founding fathers, those are melanated. Why is it that y'all think George Washington was the first president when actually the first president, there were many presidents before George Washington in what we call the Continental Congress. The Continental Congress started in 1777. And then it went on up until 1789, which is when George Washington came in 13 years later. Well, why is it that we're not talking about that time period? Well, because there was a lot of melanated presidents in there, if not all of them. They were Moors. Well, who were the Moors? These are melanated people coming from other countries. Now, there were Moors that weren't affiliated with places like Morocco and Tunis because they wanted to break away. They didn't want to be a part of Spain and wherever they were coming from, but they were melanated. Why are we not talking about that? Why are we not talking about the Moors that are coming in from the Barbary countries, Tunis, Algiers, Tripoli, Montezuma, Morocco? Why are we not talking about them? Because they were the ones who were originally settling here. Why are we not talking about them? Because they're the ones who were bringing in slaves. The original slaves were Albions. Why are we not talking about that? It's important that we know that. Not knowing that puts you in a victimhood state like what Roland Martin is talking about. You don't recognize that you're saying or what you're saying, and the fact that you're putting yourself in a victimhood state because you don't know the true history of this country. They told you so-called black people came over on slave ships when the vast majority of melanated people in this land we know of as North America are native to the land. But when they can get you to call yourself something other than the original people or Indian or whatever, Native American, when they can get you to call yourself black, colored, Negro, which are all lowered statuses, and you keep calling yourself black. And every time you do that, you have said you're dead. That's what black means for those of y'all who don't know. Black means dead legally. So you going in the court talking, I'm all black, whatever you want to say, not recognizing that you have told the court that you're dead. If you're in court anyway, you said you're dead, even if you show up in there. But that's because you don't know law. And then here this guy Patric Bet Davis, he's trying to talk about vibratory frequency, which is very, very important, but nobody can receive his message. First of all, the ego is there. All of us got egos. If you own any kind of network or platform, you speaking to people, you saying, hey, look at me. You got to have a big ego anyway. But you got to keep it in check, because it's hard to keep the ego in check. When I looked at this session between those two, Patric Bet Davis and Roland Martin, I saw a lot of ego. But again, both of them are right. Because when Patric Bet Davis talks about this vibratory frequency chart, he's talking about a spiritual aspect of this game that Roland Martin is not tapping into. So when he says, oh, why the black people, they victims of systemic racism, and he puts that in their mind, he's planted that in their mind, and then Patric Bet Davis comes back and he says, well, how is that what you're selling helping the people? How is that helping when you're selling them victimhood? That's what he's talking about. So the problem is, first of all, there's a lack of knowledge about the truth of what went on in this country, in this land, and the fact that the original people of this land were melanated. The fact that the people who came over were melanated. All your Moroccans, Tunis, Algiers, Tripoli people, those were melanated. Your Spaniards, melanated. Your Britain, your British people, melanated. All of the royalty up until the mid-1800s was melanated. Queen of England, she was melanated until mid-1800s. But we don't know that. We want to blame everything on the white man. And white is another status that didn't belong to the Albion from the beginning. It didn't. But they don't know that. And see, Patric Bet Davis, here's another thing about him. And why, again, his message did not come across in this particular session. He wants to identify with the so-called white people. All right. And what has happened is he said something about, our founding fathers. And then somebody sent a message and posted it in his inbox or on his comment section, rather, saying, it's not your founding fathers, because he thinks he's white, so-called white. Oh, yeah, our founding fathers. And then somebody hit him with a message. No, let's put you back in your place. It wasn't your founding fathers. You from somewhere else, and you're not one of us. They not like us is what they were saying to him. And he took offense to it. And the deal is that, again, he comes across as having no compassion, and then trying to side with people who are not for his best interest either. Listen, I told y'all, and I'm gonna say it here. I can't say it. I don't want to get cut off. TikTok will cut me off so fast if I say it, but you'll know who I'm talking about. There's a small group of people who are running this game. Patric Bet Davis and this guy are fighting. And Patric Bet Davis, he is from someplace else. So you got to understand, those who are really running the game, they don't care no more about Patric Bet Davis than they do Roland Martin. They will step on them both. And these people who are running the whole game, both Democratic and Republican, they don't listen. They don't even vote. Why? They don't have to. They just want to keep a fight going. As long as there is a fight, then they make money. There is a small group of people. Y'all confuse them with being white. They're okay with being confused with being white. They're not white. And they will step on the so-called white man just as fast as they'll step on the so-called black man, just as fast as they'll step on the so-called brown man. They don't care about who you are and how much money you got. They will step on you. So let's be clear. These two people with big egos sitting on this platform arguing about Democrat versus Republican, when neither one of them Neither one of them is trying to benefit you because they're all about making money and you making money for them. Let's be clear about this. So the best thing Patric Bet Davis had going for him is this document right here. When he put up the vibratory frequency chart, or his version of it, or whatever that was he put up, that was the best thing he had going for him, because what he's dealing with now is the spiritual side. Because what he kept saying is, how do we fix it? What is it that melanated people want? He said black people. What do black people want? And so my whole point here is, again, with UNA, our purpose is to help you find that financial freedom, that social freedom, and most importantly, the spiritual freedom, because the spiritual freedom is where everything starts. And when Roland Martin is selling this whole idea and notion that black people are victims, when he sells that to people and people buy that, then that's what they're going to get, because they put it in their mindset. Listen, there's a saying, and that saying says, the child that believes they can and the child that believes they cannot are both right. Both of them are right. So Roland Martin puts up this chart and it said, black people's victims. He's right. And it's going to continue to be that way when he sells that to all the people who are following him. And then when you got Patric Bet Davis over here saying they just need to get their mindset right and their vibratory frequency right, and they can win. They can win in this game. He's right. You don't have to stay there. But once you come out of your victimhood state, you can win. He's right. He won. Roland Martin won. That's why he was asking him that question. How is it that you got rich when all these other black people can't do it? Well, because you in a different mindset. Roland about getting his money. Roland about getting up out the neighborhood when the neighborhood is not serving him. That's why. I have some comments. I want to make sure I get to them. I want to welcome everybody in TikTok, YouTube. Welcome, Twitch. Welcome. Let's see. This is a year ago. Why wait till now? Was this a year ago? Let me see. Yeah. Well, this just came up on my thing. And it's apropos now. It's still in style. That's why I wanted to do it, because this was a big deal. At least in my feed. I don't know, maybe not in your time feed, but in mine it was. So, but thank you for saying that. There's no victimhood when there is no wrong being done. If there are obstacles in people's pathways, logically, a sense of being wronged or being a victim is their reality. I believe in affirmation. Thank you, Noonfa. Thank you, Noonfa. All right. That's on point. Now, here's the deal. What Patric Bet Davis is saying is that people are putting things in their mind to cause themselves to be a victim. And as I said to you, that couple that said, I'm going to get one of my Albion friends to come in here. Okay, because they had knowledge. And they're not the only ones that would be taken advantage of. People who take advantage of people, they don't care really about the skin color. They'll take advantage of other people too. So what has happened is, when you have knowledge about what you're supposed to get and what's going on in your life, then you know how to take steps and maneuver around what's coming at you. And that's exactly what that couple did. So you got to, give kudos to them. But Diva, there's a lot of people who didn't get it. Okay, going back to this right here. Now I'm going to upset some people. Going back to this. These are the universal laws. Once again, we do have the beginner law book. You can find that also on UNARepublic.com. universal laws say there are no victims. As a matter of fact, law correspondence, there are no victims. And what does that mean? That when you see somebody receiving an energy, it's because they put out an energy to receive it. The universe only returns what is put out. Okay, the universe doesn't just give something happenstance. That's another law in the universal laws. Nothing is happenstance. Law of cause and effect. If you are receiving an energy, it's because you put that energy out. And that's the biggest thing. So I'm going to go back to this when I said there is a lack of knowledge about the true history of what happened in this land that we call North America. There were melanated people who were in control first. The same thing in South America. As a matter of fact, if you go down to Argentina, they will tell you clearly that it was run by melanated people, Moors, darker than me. They got it in their museums. They don't hide it where like they do here in North America. It's hidden in North America, but in South America, they tell you right out, oh yeah, it was Moors that ran this place. They got it in their emblems. This is in Argentina, where I lived for 7 years. So what I'm saying to you is that originally there were melanated people that ran the land of North America. As a matter of fact, the United States of America was founded by melanated folks, Moors. And they based the Constitution off the Constitution of the original people that were in the land who were melanated. Okay. So then when we talk about the other melanated people that were coming into the land, these were Moors. And they were bringing in Albion slaves, children who had been kidnapped from their land. These are the facts. Martin didn't talk about that. He just talked about, we went through slavery. Wait a minute. How did that happen? That's why we got to get into these laws. How did it happen where melanated people ended up going into slavery? I talked about this in the last session about how women did dirt. Well, now we're talking about how melanated people did dirt. When you put an energy out, it must come back. You cannot enslave all these Albions. See, everybody want to talk about how all those black people get over here on the slave ships when melanated people are already here. You should be asking how so many of them get over here. Well, they was being brought in as slaves by the Barbary companies. So that's why we had the Barbary treaties. And then you got to start recognizing what's not being told to you when you read this stuff about history. Because it was also your original people, your brown people, who was enslaving the Albions. So this is what I'm saying is, you all are thinking that when we say slavery, it had only to do with melanated people. It didn't. And that's the problem, because Albions don't know. They'll tell you, the white people was indentured servants, when that's not the truth. They were full-fledged, 100% slaves, kidnapped as children, mostly. And then you had the so-called daughters of the American Revolution. Those were concubine. What does that mean? They were concubine to the Moors, whereby the Moors would put them in what they call bathhouses, and they would just go in and out of the bathhouses and rape them at will. That was your daughters of American Revolution. Yeah, they were originally the slaves or the female concubine to the Moors, melanated men. We're not recognizing history. So then when you don't recognize history, then, we victims. Yeah, okay, well then, as long as you believe that. Because that's the big thing. First of all, you don't know the history. Now, second of all, your vibratory frequency is all jacked up because you're buying this victimhood statements that Roland Martin is saying. And until you're ready to recognize history, understand who you are and what you're supposed to have, be knowledgeable, well, then you're going to stay in a victim state. That's what Patric Bet Davis was trying to say. All right. Do I have any comments? Let me see. So Donald Trump was telling us is the automatic citizenship applies to the children of those Albion slaves, not others. But also when people say they are Black and African, they aren't included. Right. Black and African, first of all, African, that's not even a nation. So when you're dealing with these people, thank you for that question, Standing Bear. When you're dealing with these people, you've got to recognize that you're dealing in the public, all right? When you're dealing in the public, they need to be able to identify you by the nation that you claim. So your nation is what is going to determine your status to some degree, unless you form your own nation, which is what we do when we help you get your trust. All right, you form your own nation. But when they ask you what your nation is, and you say, "Oh, African is not a nation; that's a landmass." Oh, African American is not a nation; it's a landmass. So, first of all, African American, you said you're an orphan, that you don't have a nation. All right. When you're claiming Black, you're claiming to be dead. That status doesn't have any, look, it has nothing to do with skin color. As a matter of fact, the original Black people were Albions, because Black means dead, or somebody who's not truly, who's not fully human. That's what it means. Somebody who's not fully human. All right. When you're talking about colored, even we look up in the law dictionary, colored means fake or fictitious, appearing to be something that it's not. So when you're taking on those titles, you're saying you're of a lower status. You're saying you're an orphan. All right. So let me finish this question now, because he goes on to say, he talks about Trump. Now, melanated folk, I need y'all to remember when Trump said, "They don't look like no Indians to me." Y'all don't remember Trump saying that several times? It was a clip, it was just going viral. I don't know who these people are. They don't look like Indians to me. They don't look like the original people of this land. And he's basically making it clear. There's all kind of clips of Trump talking about melanated people and who they are and how powerful they are. They just don't know who they are right now, but their knowledge is rising. And that there are people who are very afraid of what's coming once melanated people learn who they are. But if you get people like Roland Martin and other people who can keep you in a victimized state, you'll never rise. But Trump has been saying, now, let me be clear. I'm not for nobody. I didn't vote. I don't vote because I know the game. But what I am saying to you, when you're talking about Trump, I don't totally know who he is or what, because, he's shaking stuff up. I don't know who he is. But what I can say to you is, I know that I've heard myself several clips where he has said these things and talked about, first of all, Indians and who they are, and saying that the people who claim to be Indians are not, because he's like, that's not what the original people look like. Then, because he can't just come out and tell you. Then he talks about how melanated people have a power and that there are people who are running things that are very much fearing the time when melanated people truly learn who they are. And the issue is, when you get people who constantly speak about victimhood or fear mongering or things like that, especially when you're talking to the people in the melanated community, when you get people like that, then melanated people buy into their victimhood and they don't rise, because they're like, we victims, let's riot, let's burn it down. And that's all it's about is violence and being upset and angry and rage. And as long as you are in that kind of frequency, you down here, you're not operating in your right mind. You can never rise or create anything or manifest anything positive when you stay in this state. You can't. That's what Patric Bet Davis was trying to say about what Roland Martin was saying. But he didn't present it well. Because everything came across with an ego. Everything came across as him being non-compassionate. And that was a problem in his message. But both of them were just running with very big egos. Both of them were not respecting the facts. Okay, Roland Martin, once again, did not respect the fact that he was saying, well, wait a minute. If we got 30 states and 27 out of those 30 states are run by Democrats, or cities, I think he was, the cities with the highest amount of crime, the 30 cities with the highest amount of crime, are all 27 of them are run by Democrats. He didn't want to respect that. He was like, no, he wanted to back up off of that, because then it shows that the Democratic Party is not working for the melanated people who keep staying being a part of the Democratic Party. And then Patric Bet Davis wasn't respecting the facts that he showed when he said, yeah, there's a systemic racism. Both of them were not respecting facts. But at the same time, Roland Martin, he doesn't have knowledge, or he's not spitting the true knowledge about who really started the United States of America. And then on the other hand, Patric Bet Davis, he didn't present his information properly on the spiritual side. All right. That's my take on that. Let me see if I have any other questions. But yeah, Donald Trump was telling the truth. He has been trying to tell melanated people. He's been trying to tell melanated people about, the fact that they have some power. But you can't lift up people who don't want to lift themselves up. You just can't. And so if these people who you're trying to lift up are in a victim state, there's nothing you can do for them. I know I've done it. I've dealt with people who, for example, had mortgage situations. I've helped them get hundreds of thousands. And they still find a way to not be able to handle their situations, because it's not about money. It's about integrity. It's about getting spirit right first. Because once you get that in order, everything else will fall into place. Once you get the spiritual side, what he was talking about, this right here, your vibratory frequency, universal laws, once you get this in order, you're going to rise, because the money is going to find you. Money is not attracted to people who operate in this area down here. Money can't find you when you operate in anger and desire and fear and grief and shame. It can't find you down here. That's what Patric Bet Davis was talking about. But when you get up here, courage, and you all willing and love, and okay, money is going to be attracted to you. Nobody want to see you down here. All right. Let's see if I have any other questions before I get out of here. I cannot see my people on TikTok. Let me see if I can see. I'm having a problem seeing my TikTok people. All right, so I'm just checking to see if I have any more comments before I get out of here, and then we're gonna close it. All right. So I can't see my comments there. All right, so listen, we're gonna get up out of here. I want y'all to know I love you. Listen, make sure you keep your vibratory frequency high. Okay. There's a lot going on with respect to this whole, I've been asked about this, and I need to speak on this before I get out of here. I've been asked about this whole presidential election and what's going on. And as I've said, when you keep your vibratory frequency high, then I'm getting a message here, excuse me. Okay. So when you keep your vibratory frequency high, you're going to stay on top. Okay. Regardless of what goes on, what kind of policies he sets forth, you're going to continue to prosper. All right. If you're in a victim mindset, it's going to be very difficult for you to move forward because you're going to think everybody's against you. And as long as you believe that, you're right. As long as you believe that, that's what you're going to see. Okay. I want to give a shout out to all my TikTok people. Free to be, welcome. Fibonacci, Son of God, welcome. Stacy, welcome. All my people in YouTube, Michael and Elle, and shout out is his name. Shout out Burnout. Noon Fa. All right. Thank you all for joining. Standing Bear, thank you. Thank you for your questions and comments. So listen, we're going to be back next week. I want y'all to know I love you. Keep your vibratory frequency high. And know that as long as you're in your right mind, you will continue to prosper because money, regardless of what kind of money we got, will find you. All right. Diva Lyri, I'm great to be out of here. Peace. I love you. Where's my music?